In this video, I'm going to show you how to make beats like Kanye West for his album Graduation. As always, I'm going to show you the one method that you need across 3 beats so that we get that huge stadium ready anthemic sound that Graduation is famous for. Let's dive straight into it. So we're going to start off building a typical drum pattern that you would hear on Graduation. I'm using the Lunch77 Kanye West drum kit. I'll put a link down below. It's got all the sounds you need really. So now the sound selection is key. We need to make sure that we've got, like I said, these big, heavy, punchy, beefy drums. So 4 on the floor, if you've not heard that term, it's basically doing like you hear in dance music, and that's going to drive the rhythm. Next we could add some perk sounds and hats and things like that, but what I like to do now is move over to the melodic side of things because we've got the driving rhythm and I don't want to overcomplicate the percussion until I know what the melody is actually doing. So Graduation takes advantage of a lot of synthesizers. It's like Kanye discovered synths and started going crazy with them. A lot of strings, which Kanye is always well known for. So what we want to do is incorporate synthesizers, strings, but also a good sample. Kanye is like the master of sampling, so let's just find a good sample that can instantly give us a cool vibe. So really cool, you could do a lot of things with this, but I just want to keep it simple and take maybe the beginning part and just loop it over. Actually, let's just move it up 3 semitones. So I like that. We've got the standard sampling technique of, you know, repeating something 3 times and then the 4th time it has a progression, it changes. So we just extend out the sample so it can do the progression there. So let's play it with the drums. Let's add in some strings and we can start, you know, developing this melody a bit. For the string sounds, I'm just using BBC Symphony Orchestra, which is free. You have to have it. It's the best orchestra for like a free plugin that you can get. It's incredible. Do like a bit of flashing lights. Still need to learn to play it, but yeah, just using a cello in the orchestra, you can do some cool stuff to just figure out that progression. Next we do a bass, just copying that exact same thing. So you can see the sample's given us a clear direction in terms of the progression, which means it's easy just to layer sounds, just to fill out that progression, and then we can start working out the more like intricate details. So next up, let's add a Korg Triton sound. This is typical from like the late 90s, early 2000s. So you're going to hear a lot of these sounds on those earlier Kanye albums. I think we'll layer the strings, but hold down the notes the entire way, so it just thickens everything up a bit. So just having a bit of movement just keeps things moving instead of static, which can be really boring to listen to. Let's add in another Triton because there's some really cool sounds in here. The more I play around with it, there's some presets that you just instantly recognize from these 2000s beats. So really just getting ideas down quickly, regardless of how good they are, because then we have more options to play with later. What we're going to do now is add another BBC Symphony Orchestra layer. Like I mentioned, Kanye is really good with strings, especially on Flashing Lights. The strings on that are just heavenly. I can't even put into words how much I love it. Perfect. You can't go wrong with like a good sweeping string pattern to come in and just like raise the stakes. So now we've got all the basic layers for the melody to help really round out the progression. Let's go back into the percussion and add some more things just to develop that a bit more. Just have stuff in there to add texture. Now that we've got the drums basically done, I don't think I want to add too much. I was thinking about changing the kick pattern because you can just put a lot of kicks in. Graduation, you'll notice the kicks are just crazy. There's so many kicks in a lot of the tracks, and it just gives a lot more energy and driving rhythm to it. For now, what I'm going to do is start arranging this out, because then we can work out where we need to put more melodic layers. So for the second beat, we're going to do the same sort of thing, but this time let's start with the sample. If you want an amazing collection of samples or chops of samples that are pre-made, just go on Google and search Reddit and then these things. So you can get a bunch of old movie soundtracks and dialogue and textures and drums. This one in particular, One's Wabs, is insane. And you'll find enough material to sample for a good year or so. So check that out. So this is a perfect example, just a really good sample, already perfectly chopped, so you can just drag and drop it. But what we want to do is just loop like the beginning bit, I think, and that should sound pretty cool. And then the fourth time, we'll just change it so it progresses. Of course, one of the classic sampling techniques, just looping something 3 times, changing it on the 4th. So once again, let's start laying out the drums, just making them punchy, powerful, really in your face. So like I've been saying, the kicks are busy. You just really want them everywhere, all over the place, really driving the rhythm, keeping a lot of energy going. And I think we can layer a clap with this snare as well. So just to add a bit of extra oomph. Let's go straight into the bass. We just really want to keep it simple, just underneath, because the sample, I don't want to take out too many frequencies. We could take out all of the low end. but I think we want to keep a lot of that depth in there, give it a lot more of that like grit and depth and grunge. So it's in E minor, we just have to play the E and then the A at the progression. Then we just have it sidechain to the kick. And it's probably worth doing a sidechain on the main sample as well. Now we can layer a few more melodic sounds, keeping it simple because the sample does the work, the drums are busy, we don't really need too much else going in. Actually, the strings aren't sounding great, so let's skip that. I'm more than happy to leave it as this. It's short and sweet and simple, but it has the energy and it has the feeling that you need to do something with it. Okay, for the final beat, let's put everything together. We're going to do the powerful drums, big punchy drums. We're going to have a sample. We're going to have the orchestral, the synths. Let's put everything together. This time, let's start off with a snare perk sound. And let's just layer a rim shot with it. And then for the kick, again, just busy, busy, busy. Oh, I love that kick. Perfect. What I love about the drum sounds on Graduation is they're all interesting. There's no like bread and butter drum sounds. It's not like a standard drum kit. It's not like trap drums. Obviously, a lot of that is sound selection, but a lot of that can be processing. So we could take these drums, let's say we group them together, and we could process it with something just to make them interesting and weird. Jeez. So now we've got the drums done. Let's find a sample. Let's just do the same sort of thing. Find something from that amazing resource. See if something will fit with these drums. Can hear that piano. Instantly reminds me of Heartless. It's just really interesting. It sounds nice. It's vibey. Now, in terms of the sample itself, it's got drums, which can be good and bad. In this case, I think they're going to clash with the drums we've got. So first, let's get it to line up. Yeah, that's better. Now let's just pitch it up a little bit. So now if we play it with the drums as is. So it's okay, it fits, because obviously the drums are on grid, but those drums take away from the drums that we've done. I don't really want it there. If you've got Ableton Suite, you can do stem separation. I think FL Studio has something like that too. An easier way to do it is use a plugin like Remix. Let's mute the drums. So it's pretty cool. The next thing is, I don't want all of it. I like the stab, but that vocal can't really play throughout the whole thing. I want it to only come in sporadically. So first things first, let's just EQ out a lot of the lows, because even the bass line, I'd prefer to add in my own bass line. So you have more control, you can change the sound, etc. So let's just take that all out. So now the first 3 hits, there's no vocal. So then the vocal comes in. So let's just delete that and then find where the progression happens. And again there. So now we've got the stabs that we can just copy over, and then that's when the chord change happens. it doesn't sound great, but because it's mixing with everything else, it's gonna hopefully not sound too bad. Easy. And then what we can do at some point, just to mix it up, not all the time, but you know, every now and then, is just extend it out so you get the vocal bit just for like the beginning, and then we copy it over like that. Let's start adding in more layers. So first things first, synths. I'm thinking Good Life, Can't Tell Me Nothing, you know, big sweeping synths. And then we can do that classic progression, very Travis Scott, very Kanye. Perfect, already sounding a lot fuller. Now we can just do the same thing with a bass, and I've got a bass guitar loaded up already in Triton, so I think it would be best to use like a 2000s sound essentially. So we can now just copy this out because the sample definitely, I want it to keep changing. So we've got a bit more room to just have that variety. This time we can have that extended out. So yeah, just keeping it interesting through the sample, and even the synth chords can have some more variations. Now we've got the basic thing down. You can just go in and say, okay, let's just do that same progression. So now again, it's just about adding some more layers. So let's throw in an analog lab. That's it. So when it comes to like the hook, you just have some more emphasis. That's a really cool sound. And you can imagine like everything dropping out and then doing like a sort of Mike Dean thing. One thing we can't forget is the whole idea behind graduation, which is stadium ready anthems. You know, it has to be big, it has to be epic, it has to be able to really punch through like in a stadium environment. So don't be afraid of just getting big distorted sounds like this. So yeah, I think that's everything you need to make a graduation type beat. You're going to have something that's high energy, stadium ready, anthemic, ready for Kanye to rap over. So let me arrange this out and I'll show you the final beat. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments which other Kanye albums you want me to cover in this series, and if you want to see other videos in my method series, check out these videos right here.